Welcome back to another episode of OnlyCopilotFans. I'm your host, AJ Ansari, and today's episode is going to be a little bit different. As you know, I haven't done a podcast in a while. A lot of the content that I have on YouTube is typically how-tos, and we are covering things that you can do in Copilot and Copilot Studio. But I do like to go back to the podcast concept and bring in a guest from time to time. And this particular one's really near and dear to my heart, both the guest and the event. So let's first start with an introduction. I've got with me Giuseppe Ianni. He is the Vice President, Community Director at Dynamic Communities, Inc. Dynamic Communities is the group that hosts Community Summit North America. If you've been to those events, you know about it. It is the largest user group or user-focused event for the Microsoft Dynamics and Power Platform communities in the world, right? About 6,000 plus people show up. There's about 3 or 4 days of conference, but there's pre-conference boot camps, post-conference boot camps. It's just a week-long celebration. But then Dynamic Communities also does these more focused events over the course of the year. And this particular one that's going to come up very soon in March is called the AI Agent and Copilot Summit. So Giuseppe, tell us a little bit about yourself. I think most people know you. You've been on the channel for a very long time, but for the 5 people who don't.
Yeah, thanks, AJ. And thanks everybody who's listening in here and tuning in online. But yeah, I'm the VP Community Director here at Dynamic Communities. And my focus really is working with partners to get engagement out of the user community, right? All the events that we put on really pull together 4 different points of light in the community, whether it's the creators at Microsoft, the partners who are bringing those solutions to market, educating the users. We work with a lot of buyers who are evaluating the Microsoft stack holistically, and then users who have run them some bit of the tech stack, regardless of what end or spectrum it falls in within Microsoft, and how they can get better or optimize the stack that they have. So AI Agent and Copilot Summit, again, we introduced as we look back to last year when this event was first stood up. We looked at it as an opportunity to pull the community forward, to start talking about expectations versus reality, right? AI, as you know, and you've been talking about for quite some time, what do attendees really want? What are some of the practical guidance that we can provide? What are some of the frameworks that can be put in place? And give us some stories, right? I know you participated heavily last year, not only on the planning committee, but also speaking. And that brought forward a lot of wow moments for a lot of the attendees. And we had about 500 or so people there last year. And it got us past, I think, some of the initial hype of what AI is.
And, Giuseppe, what I loved about the event, and I said at the outset that this is an event that's near and dear to my heart, as much focus as I personally have been giving Agentic AI over the last 3 years, I've been looking for an event that focuses on that aspect and nothing else. This event was AI and agents. The target audience was more leadership roles, decision makers, decision influencers. So when you as an organizer look at this event and you look at the DNA of this event and compare it with the DNA Community Summit, what are you expecting for the AI Agent Copilot Summit? And what are you seeing out there? What personas, what roles, who is the right person
I think
to attend this
that's
event?
a great call out, right? Because there's a lot of AI hype events that are going on, right? When we looked to put this together, it was very much about finding the business and the technology leaders for mid-market and enterprise orgs, right? That was kind of our focus point. And then from there, we looked at it, I think, more human terms than job titles, right? We were looking at bringing in Microsoft platform leaders who we knew could help shape kind of the future of where it's going. That's a little bit of it, right? Then we looked at partners that were building agents. I think that's another critical piece of it. Then we looked at executives inside of organizations that were really driving transformation. And we also looked at pulling in users who were also doing the work on a daily basis. I think all of that helped us shape this event into one that was bringing strategy and reality together, right? And it created a very different environment versus a traditional hype environment. And that's why we went from 500 last year to us expecting, and we're still pacing to get to about 750 attendees that are very much focused on execution and orientation as we look at this event and how it's rolled out.
Yeah. When I think of an event like this, I almost wanted to stay closer to that 700. Last year's 500, we're hitting 750. I don't know what you think and what GCI at large think. I think that sweet spot is between 750 or 1,000. I think you get too big, it loses that intimate value, the networking that happens, all the other things that happen when you bring leaders into a room, right? Because once you bring too many people, then you're talking at them. The conversation becomes very one directional. With a smaller audience, there is bi-directional conversation. People benefit from learning from each other. There's a lot of conversations in the hallway. Even within sessions, you can entertain more Q&A. You can entertain more dialogue. Would you agree? Is that your philosophy as well when you look at an event like this in terms of size? Or as an organizer, do you go,
No,
hey, bigger
I would
is always
100%
better?
agree, right? I think the intimacy of this event is something that people really loved last year. I think organically it's going to continue to grow because it's hard to turn users who want to come to this away. As you know, right, we had over I think it was 650 sessions that were submitted to speak at this, and we had to narrow it down to 60. So we turned a lot of people away. Whereas to your point, we could have made
Yeah.
this event bigger, longer, more days. I would say we kept it very focused to certain business initiatives and key points that we wanted to talk about. So again, keeping it practical. And even as we look at keynote speakers, right, we had to refine that and make sure we brought in the right people that align with the right perspective and ensured that each of the sessions are reinforcing the theme and the clarity of the event over just bringing in more complexity to it. So I think users will really appreciate that. And also, to your point, be able to still network with those that are very much so like them.
I lead sessions at a lot of conferences and events, and I find this one is very unique. My involvement is both on the program and committee board, but also as a media sponsor with OnlyCopilotFans, right? I feel the people that come to my OnlyCopilotFans videos to come to the website and read the articles, they would benefit from coming to an event like this because they're not just learning the how-to, but they can look at it and say, could this work for my organization? If I'm a leader, should we enable this for our organization? How do I make the case to my leaders for what we want to accomplish? So excited, really excited. I want to take this to a slightly different way. What are you doing differently this year? Or is there going to be anything we will see that will be
Well, I
very
think there's
different
been a
this year
lot of
from last year?
growth in the AI space holistically. I know it being a smaller event, we were also agile enough to build in some work IQ that I know is newer for the community. The Agent 365 control plane, I think, was also something that we built in. So we're seeing growth and expansion. And I think with that, we're evolving our talk track, or in particular across the master class and even the main stage. This year, we'll see a lot more change too. But I think also when it comes to just holistic strategy to the sessions we chose, it was a lot more strategy and execution together, right? Not in isolation, not like, hey, this is how you should be getting there. It was how you should be getting there and what you need to do, right? And positioning it for individuals that can actually do the work. And it's what are the outcomes that I can actually take away, implement back to my business. Those are all things that we focused on this year specifically. Last year, again, I think it was more education, more strategy. This year, it's more strategy and execution combined because I think companies holistically are a little bit further along in that AI journey, to your point. And now we can also say, hey, this is what AI is, but also this is where it doesn't fit. And I think that's a big takeaway for users who are coming today is to learn AI necessarily it can do everything, but it might not be best for you to do it here and here, focus and put it here. And this is how you can do it.
And in the spirit of inclusion, there is the pre-day too, correct? For somebody still getting started on the journey, there is a home. They can come a little bit early, and instead of playing golf, they could join us. So maybe, do you want to share a little bit about what people can expect in the pre-conference day,
Yeah,
the new to
the AI
AI track,
Kickstart
as it were?
pre-conference, I think, is really intentional, right? In the sense that there's going to be a day, and it's basically a build of a day. So, you know what AI is. You've heard a little bit about it. Now we're going to kind of guide you, and I think we've chosen speakers and a panel. You know that you're going to be really leading, right? That's going to guide users throughout kind of a journey of this is what it could look like as you look at your experience evolving with AI. And that's what that Kickstart pre-conference is for. Not that people don't have an understanding, but how could you be guided through kind of an AI journey at a high level and to get you thinking, kind of stepping up and back, right? To understand what that could look like. And that pre-conference is designed just for that. We saw a lot of individuals who, again, they want to have fun as they come to events like this on top of a whole lot of learning. But how could we also have a little bit of fun with that and paint a larger picture for those that weren't interested in getting out and interacting at a sport event?
Yeah. And then both on that day, and I think the other days as well, or at least the first day and the second day, we have panels that are going to be on the main stage, and they're going to happen at a time when master classes are not happening, right? What I see at a lot of conferences, Giuseppe, when I go to, is as soon as sessions start, and there are some great panels, but those panels are happening at the same time as sessions and master classes, so you got to pick and choose. I love that you're doing panels at a time where everybody can sit in the auditorium or the big room and watch. And there's panels with end users, with partners. You're seeing lessons in the field. So kudos to you guys for doing that. I think that was a very thoughtful way of making sure that people got to hear from other
Yeah,
leaders
I
what
think that's a
worked
good
and what
point. I
didn't
think
work.
that's also one of the benefits of being an independent organization like Dynamic Communities. And even as we approach Summit, right, we kind of control where we take the audience or we guide these users on their journey. So having so many sessions to choose from, right, we can not only pick how people kick off in Keynote in these main stage themes that are being spoken about, and then allow an attendee to come and sit into a master class that again builds throughout the day. So you might spend a half day in main stage hearing from individuals, bigger picture stuff, but then you get into a master class that again kind of evolves you through the process and a journey that again is only possible, I think, when again you step back and really are intentional about how you build a day and ensure that users can definitely walk away with a stronger foundation to build on.
Let's do some name dropping, Giuseppe. Give some juice. Who are the heavy hitters? Who's going to be our keynote speakers? What's going on?
Honestly, this is always evolving, and that's kind of the good and the bad of having a bunch of people involved in an event like this. One of the most exciting ones that I'm personally looking forward to hearing from is Donna Sarkar from Microsoft. She's coming in to give a more practical and human kind of experience to the AI agent and Copilot side from Microsoft. So she is I think her official title is Chief Troublemaker around Copilot, right? But I think I've watched a lot of her stuff online. She's a phenomenal speaker. We have Theo
Yes.
Sexiera, which is a user. He's from a client that we have coming in, and he's going to be talking a little bit about generative AI. And he's a professor over at UCSD. So we have that from an overall attendee standpoint coming in an actual physical company. We have Christopher Lockhead, who was with us last year and did one of our keynotes. He's coming back, and he's obviously a highly published author. Really great to have him present.
I really enjoyed his
Yeah,
talk
I
last
mean,
year.
and
It
he's
was
coming in again
wonderful.
to talk about kind of the overall creator economy and category design and AI kind of space. He gives a very different perspective, I think, for the audience, which is great to mix things up and get you thinking differently. We have Bob Evans from Cloud Wars, which is coming in. A great advocate of ours and our sister company that I know will be great. We have Sachin that's coming in from Microsoft side. We have so many speakers from Microsoft. I think we have about 10 Microsoft leaders coming in. James Olenek is also going to be there, a part director, a product manager at Microsoft. So a lot of different speakers. Dwayne Robinson, who's the Copilot Studio lead, will be there.
Hey, Copilot Studio for my audience, only Copilot fans. Right? You talk about that audience. Everybody's watching Dwayne Robinson's videos. He's going to be there. Yep. So that's a wonderful opportunity to hear from him and then also attend his master classes and meet him in person. He's always got wonderful ideas. And for those who are not keeping up, he's now part of CAT. And so he's part of that advisory team as well. It works on the project engineering side. I just happened to be in Redmond for the last 3 days, learning from Dwayne and the wonderful team at CAT. So a lot of great folks out there. Yeah, that's going to be a wonderful one. Keep
No, I
going.
mean,
I
again, he
stepped
was
in a little
great.
bit
If you
there.
haven't caught his YouTube stuff, like his channel is phenomenal, just very practical to a nature. But again, I mean, he's cutting edge and you'll have plenty of FaceTime, not only listen to his sessions, but I know he'll be at a lot of our side events, whether it's yoga in the morning or pickleball in the afternoon, right? There's going to be a lot of different things to do and even networking in the evenings. We're doing a wine tasting. There's going to be a bourbon tasting as well. So there's other things and a lot of great networking, right? As we talk about the speakers, there's a whole bunch of them coming in, but there's going to be plenty of time to network with these guys as well. And I think that's just another really great. You listen to it all day. There's a lot of practical things you're learning. You can come and just socialize with these individuals, including yourself, AJ, right? Where you get to have that off the cuff kind of conversation with people and spitball these ideas a little bit more face to face.
Now, speaking of name dropping, in the backdrop of it all is Torrey Pines, legendary Torrey Pines. So, and last year there was just a golf tournament, but this year it's golf.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who don't do golf, there's pickleball. And just think about it. How often do you get a chance to play at Torrey Pines? Unfortunately, this year I won't get to play again because I'll be at the pre-conference day. It's probably for the better. I'm really bad at golf. I just play for the fun of it. But for everybody else, that's another good reason to be out there. Now, tell me this. 2 or 3 takeaways, Giuseppe. If somebody's coming to this event, first of all, um, what should they plan for? What should be the measure of success, or what should they look to get out of this event? And how do you propose they spend their time at this event?
Yeah, I always encourage people, right? And I think planning's huge, right? So I think if you could come with 2 to 3 real business problems in mind, I think that's valuable. One, you can use the networking time to talk about that with people. I know there will be some intimate kind of gatherings going on at night, but you'll have these people's ear. You'll be able to take those business problems and network with them, whether it's our speakers or it's just people like you, right? Other users that are there to kind of talk about where you're at in your journey. It's amazing. People go out there and they try to build these agents themselves from scratch, but a lot of times people already have this stuff built, or you can get a lot of understanding and insight from what people have already accomplished and done. So I think if you can prep, do a little research there, that's great. Finding a way to kind of balance the strategy sessions with the masterclass sessions. So figure out in advance. I know the schedule is published online. It's evolving a little bit here and there, but for the most part, it's kind of finalized. Leverage the hallway and dinner time conversation moments. That's always huge. I can't say that enough. Even coming early, we got yoga starting at 6 a.m. And coming out of yoga, there's going to be that moment where everybody's got their blood pumping at this point. Time to have conversations, right? Another good one, or head off to breakfast and keep chatting with that person that you were both just sweating next to.
I was looking. I have a scheduling conflict for yoga all the days. Yep, just
I
can't make
bet.
it out
And
there.
then
I'm
the
sorry.
last
It's too
thing
early
is,
in the
I mean, all these sessions are going to be recorded, right? And you can't, if there is something that conflicts, or you want to you want to go back to what you heard, you can take advantage of it post event, which I think is also great about the event, is we're recording all this stuff so you can have that as a follow-up item or an action item coming out of it and go back to it to relearn. On top of, there is an expo of 35, 36 different sponsors that we're going to have. So a lot of people who have already done some work in the AI space that you can also leverage and connect with while at the event.
Well, March is coming up very, very soon. We're just a few weeks away from it. If you haven't registered yet, go to AI Copilot, copilot.summitna.com and go to register. It is absolutely an event I recommend you attend. If you are listening to content like this, if you're on YouTube and or Spotify or your favorite podcast area, and you're taking the time to listen to how-tos and thought leadership content on Agentic AI building, on Copilot Studio, I would encourage you to invest in an event like this. And it's an investment. It's not an expense. You're going to come back learning something that is valuable and invaluable. The same way I look at my trip out to Redmond, which I made it my expense to go learn from the CAT team. When you have opportunities like that, or like the AI Agent Copilot Summit, they come around once a year. So I'm glad this is happening. I hope this is the second of many, many, many years that we do this.
No, I think we hit it well. I really, again, appreciate you having me on. I think the goal of this event, right, is to help this community move from curiosity to confidence, right? And I think a lot of us are there and we can relate to that. And I think a lot of us have ideas. We just need to know how to execute. And that's really what we built this event in series of days for. So again, to your point, if you can make the investment, I think it's an invaluable one to make at this point, but it's definitely one that you're going to be able to walk back with actual action items you could put into place and start executing on, coming out of with confidence. And it's only going to help in both areas.
Oh, and for those of you who are registering, I'm going to put a little promo code in the ticker on my screen. Use that promo code and secure yourself a discount. It will be in the comments of this video, as well, in the notes of the video, as well as on the screen below. Giuseppe, thank you very much. I always enjoy talking to you. We'll see you in San Diego. Until next time. Oh, by the way, if you haven't hit the like button, do that if you're watching this on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, please do that as well. Tell your friends about Only Copilot Fans and visit our website, OnlyCopilotFans.com. Until next time, it's been a pleasure. I'm AJ Ansari, and I'll see you again very, very soon.